JBC Radio Theatre is proud to present Northward, Jeeves, written by Jarvis B. Chavez, based on the characters of P.G. Wodehouse.
My dear darling, it is your beloved Penelope. Penelope Stratton, your fiancée, come to help you greet the day. It was very naughty of you, Bertie, running out on me like that after proposing to me in that unexpected way at last night's embassy party. Imagine! For the past several months, you were admiring me from afar when we would run into each other at the New York City Tennis Club. I never once knew how you really felt about me. I thought of us as just chums, really. You are just so romantic, Bertie. Like something out of a romance novel. I must confess to you now, I thought of you as quite dashing when we first met. I shall always remember that bewildered look in your eyes when I immediately accepted your proposal. It almost seemed like shock, as if you had no idea what I was talking about. I was so excited, I ran off to inform my cousin Victoria about your proposal, and upon my return I found you gone. After making several inquiries of the other guests at the party, I was informed by the hat check girl that you had gotten your hat and coat and ran off in a hurry, looking pale and saying that you felt ill. You should have told me you were sick, Bertie. I would have understood. Moreover, Victoria and I would have escorted you home and made sure that you got right into bed. Are you there, Bertie? The doorman informed me that you and Jeeves were at home. Bertie, my love, there are loads of things to do before we can be married. First of all, I insist that you speak to my father and formally ask him for my hand. I don't believe in long engagements. 2 or 3 months should suffice. I would love to take a honeymoon cruise down to Australia and New Zealand. My mother has loads of family there. I shall count the days before we start our lives together, day in and day out, as man and wife, for the rest of eternity. Bertie, open up. Stop being so silly. Jeeves, are you there? Jeeves, please, open the door. As your future mistress, Jeeves, I do not find this behavior the least bit funny. I actually find it most intolerable. Bertie, open up!
She told Jeeves, please be more careful with my golf clubs. Stop bumping them against the railings. They are brand new after all.
I'm trying, sir. I must admit I'm not adept at descending a fire escape, especially while carrying a full set of gentlemen's luggage, the tennis rackets and his golf clubs. However, I must commend you, sir, on the effective use of this fire escape as a means of evading young Miss Stratton.
It was necessary, I'm afraid, Jeeves. After unintentionally getting inebriated on vodka at last night's embassy party, for some reason still unknown to me, I inadvertently found myself proposing to her. It was when she said yes that I finally regained a sense as if a cold splash of water were thrown in my face. That's when I had an overwhelming feeling to flee the scene as soon as possible. When I finally made it home, I repeated the whole rummy affair to you. That's when you recommended a sojourn to Canada to visit one of my many aunts. We will stay away from Manhattan just long enough for things to sort themselves out, eh?
How did it occur to you to use the fire escape for our exodus?
Ah, yes. It was several weeks ago. I was at this drinks club in the city, and I ran into some American chap named O'Brien. He recounted to me a story of how he met some young woman acquaintance. They'd hit it off, as they say, and went back to her flat. Now, they were getting down to business, he called it, when her husband came home early. Well, it turns out that the young woman's husband was an enormous, hulking longshoreman. Well, He began to knock the door down with his bare fists. That's when O'Brien jumped out of bed, threw on his hat, grabbed his clothes and ran down the fire escape to safety.
Remarkable indeed, sir.
Yes, indeed, Jeeves. Yes, indeed. Of course, while running down the fire escape, his clothes fell into the bed of an oncoming truck. He was later jailed for gross indecency, for being naked in public. I remember O'Brien staring off into the distance and muttering to himself, "Always put on your trousers first." Sound advice, Jeeves. Sound advice. Don't you think?
Indubitably, sir. His advice has proven most valuable in our situation. I have arranged for a cab that will immediately take us to the port. I have booked passage on us on an ocean liner to Canada, as per your instructions, sir.
But wasn't it some chap who said, "Go north, young man"?
Not exactly, sir. I believe it was young American newspaper editor and publisher Horace Greeley who said, "Go west, young man," encouraging the listener to find his fame and fortune in the blossoming American western frontier.
Well, yes, of course. First, we shall go north into Canada, then west to Vancouver. So, you see, Jeeves, I'm still correct in the spirit of the saying, if not the letter.
As you say, sir.
Northward, Jeeves.
Very good, sir. This way, sir. I believe this is our train. If you wait for me here, I will fetch us a porter to here with the luggage.
Very well, Jeeves. I shall pass the time by enjoying a cigarette and wait for you here.
Excusez-moi. May I bother you for a cigarette, my good man?
What? Oh, yes, of course. Allow me. Here you go.
Thank you, kind sir. My name is Yvette Cadeau.
And my name is Bertie Wooster, and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. May I offer you a light?
Absolument.
I say, are you French?
Oui, monsieur. By way of Montreal. Have you ever been?
No, I'm afraid not. Although after meeting you, I may have to alter my plans to visit before returning home to England. Are you traveling to Vancouver?
Oui. My family has many business interests out west. Thank you very much for the cigarette, Mr. Wooster. Perhaps we will have an opportunity to get better acquainted later. If you will excuse me, I must board the train and find my compartment. Good day.
Yes. Turning out to be a good day indeed.
All aboard for Vancouver and all points west!
Now that's more like it, Jeeves. We are finally all settled in and on our way west.
Will you be having your meal in the dining car, or should I arrange for you to dine here in your compartment this evening, sir?
I think the dining car, Jeeves, for our first night aboard. But first, a small fortified drink of some sort to start the evening off. I hope they can make a Singapore sling as good as the drones.
Very good, sir.
Oh, Mr. Wooster, we meet again. Please, I must insist you join us for a drink. May I present Mr. Dennis J. Fowler.
Pleased to meet the both of you gents.
Please call me Bertie, I insist. Where are my manners? This is my man Jeeves. You know, my personal attendant, my valet.
Well, you come prepared with your own butler. Trey Swanky Wooster.
I am sure you will find Bertie is the quintessential Edwardian man, Dennis.
From the look of him, I also suspect a man of leisure.
Guilty, I'm afraid, on both counts.
Pardon me, sir. If you'll not be needing me, I will return to the compartment and continue with the unpacking.
Yes, very good, Jeeves. Carry on.
He seems to be a very capable fellow indeed, Bertie.
Oh, he is. A very valuable chap. So, Fowler, what line of work are you in?
I am a courier for a jewelry company in Toronto. I deliver precious stones and gems around the world. My current assignment has taken me out to Victoria Island off the coast of British Columbia.
I say, isn't that dangerous? I mean, is it safe to be walking around with all that valuable jewelry? Have you ever been assaulted as a result?
Oh, some have tried, Wooster, some have tried. That's why I carry this. A trusty Smith & Wesson service revolver for my own personal protection. Believe you me, I know how to use it.
Oh, please, Dennis, put that away. I simply despise weapons of any kind. They are so dangerous.
That's only in the hands of those who don't know how to use a firearm properly, Yvette. You can't accidentally blow someone's head off. That reminds me, I am starving. Let's order. I can go for a thick, juicy steak. Hey, Wooster.
What time is it? Let me check my watch. 2 in the morning. I did linger a bit too long in the dining car talking and drinking with Yvette, Fowler and the other passengers. Excuse me, Porter. I seem to be lost. Can you help me find my compartment?
Certainly, sir. May I see your ticket?
Yes. Here it is.
I'm afraid you passed it, sir. One car back.
Did I? All these blasted compartments look the same. Thank you, Porter. It's getting late, and I don't want to worry poor Jeeves. Now, where is my compartment?
Oh, confound it, man! Look where you are going!
I'm so sorry. I was momentarily distracted while looking down at my ticket for my compartment number. Let me pick up your cap. I say, are you a general or something? With that red coat and shoulders full of pips?
I am Superintendent Daniel Steele with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, sir. Who might you be? Never mind. I am very tired and just want to go to bed. In future, stop recklessly wandering down hallways willy-nilly without concern for others. Good night.
Again, I'm ever so sorry for bumping into you. What a thoroughly irritable fellow. Reminds me of Sir Roderick Glossop. What was that? Were those gunshots, Jeeves?
I believe so, sir. Are you all right? The train seems to have come to a full stop.
Good heavens. Gunshots at this hour? On the train? Just as I was falling asleep. This is most odd indeed. Hand me my robe, Jeeves. We must get to the bottom of this.
Now everyone stand back away from the body. Get back to your compartments while we sort out what happened here.
Conductor, what's going on here?
Oh, hello, Mr. Wooster. There's been a terrible incident on board. It appears that Miss Cadeau has shot and murdered Mr. Fowler with his own gun. I have locked Miss Cadeau in her compartment for everyone's safety.
You mean Yvette?
Yes, sir. At approximately 2:45 a.m., I was doing my nightly rounds on the train when I heard a noise up the corridor. I ran just a few feet when I saw an open door. It was Mr. Fowler who stumbled out into the hallway holding his stomach and fell to the floor. Then I saw Miss Cadeau come out of the door behind him holding a gun. I quickly grabbed the gun from her and pulled the cord to stop the train. All we can do is hold her until we get to the next town, which is sometime tomorrow, and turn her over to the proper authorities.
Do you mean she's suspected of committing this most heinous act?
I am afraid so, Mr. Wooster. Hold on. I just remembered we have a mountie on board.
Yes. I remember bumping into him just before turning in for the night. His name was, Superintendent Steele. Remember I told you about him, Jeeves?
Yes, you did, sir.
I will get one of the porters to wake him up.
Yvette, what are you doing out of your room? The porter says you've been confined to your quarters. They've gone to go and fetch a policeman on board, I'm afraid.
Oh, Bertie, I did not do it. You must believe me. Please tell me you believe me.
I can't believe you could do anything of the sort, Yvette. I totally believe you're innocent.
Make way, people. Mountie coming through.
Wooster! It's not Wooster you are accusing of murder, is it?
No, it's not me, Superintendent.
No, Superintendent Steele. This is the suspect, Miss Yvette Cadeau.
Yes, thank you, Conductor. I shall take it from here. Let us return to your room, Miss Cadeau, so I may ask you a few important questions. The rest of you return to your compartments. That's an order.
Good morning, sir. I trust you had a good night's slumber after the trying events of last night.
Morning, Jeeves. I wish I could say that I had a peaceful sleep, but alas, I did not. I suffered a broken and tormented sleep, thinking of the fate that had befallen dear Yvette.
I am most disturbed to hear that, sir. I have taken the liberty of ordering your morning tea. I wanted first to gauge your spirits this morning before inquiring if you would be requiring breakfast.
Thank you, Jeeves. The tea will be sufficient. I couldn't eat a thing right now, I'm afraid. Have you heard any further developments about Yvette since last night?
The young woman from the kitchen staff that brought me your tea this morning said that the mounted policeman had questioned her for several hours in her room. Then she informed me that the superintendent had her moved to the baggage car while he searched her room as part of his investigation.
I can't believe this is happening. Whilst it is true I've only known her for a short time, one develops a sixth sense about people. This is totally out of her character. She seems to be a very open and sincere young woman. What is it they say, Jeeves? Man is born free, yet everywhere he is in chains? I say, Jeeves, shouldn't that apply to women as well? I mean the free bit.
I do believe the philosopher Rousseau's quote can be interpreted to extend both men and women equally, sir.
Oh well, that seems fair then.
Excuse me, Mr. Wooster, for bothering you this early. Miss Cadeau wishes to speak to you. I am to escort you to the baggage car where she is currently being held by orders of the superintendent.
Very well. Lead the way. Jeeves, come with me.
Yes, sir.
Bertie, I am so glad you have come. I have been going out of my mind all night, worried that I am being accused of murdering poor Dennis. That policeman kept asking me the same questions over and over again, always accusing me as a killer. It was a nightmare that appeared endless. He is now searching my room. Bertie, I must tell you something. Something very important.
Hello, Wooster. What are you doing here? Never mind. Will you leave us alone, please? I need to talk to Miss Cadeau and the head conductor in private on a matter of official business.
Nonsense. I want Mr. Wooster and Jeeves to stay. They are the only ones I trust. You can speak freely in front of them.
Very well. Suit yourself. I have finished conducting my preliminary investigation at the request of the head conductor. We are all familiar with the facts of the case and the conductor's statements. The suspect claims she has no recollection of what happened prior to the sound of the gun firing. She claims it was the gunfire that woke her from her sleep. The victim departed from her compartment several hours prior to these events, according to her. She saw the victim hold his stomach in pain and walk out the door. That is when she saw the gun on the floor and picked it up. It was at this moment she realized the victim must have been shot. She was merely approaching the victim to see if she could render assistance. That is when the conductor confronted her.
Oui, that is what happened, I swear it. I did not kill Dennis.
The suspect swears she is telling us the truth. Then how does she explain this? I found her passport amongst her belongings. Her Canadian passport is made out to a Lucy Maud Higgins, as is her provincial teacher's license.
What? This can't be. Is this true, Yvette?
Yes, it's true. I am not Yvette Cadeau. I am Lucy Maud Higgins from Alberta, Canada. I did lie about who I am, but I did not kill Dennis.
I put it to you, gentlemen, can you believe anything this woman says? A thorough search of her compartment revealed this. a very large and expensive ruby. The late Mr. Fowler was a jewelry courier on his way to deliver this very ruby to a client out west, according to a letter I found in his belongings. I have formulated a working theory of this crime. She somehow found out what he was carrying. Then she managed to take the ruby from Fowler's possession without him knowing. Later, Fowler must have figured out she took it and went to her room to confront her. They may have had some sort of physical confrontation. This led to her shooting and killing Fowler. A jewel heist gone wrong, you see. I have found that there is sufficient evidence to maintain charges. There is a criminal case of murder to answer for here. Lucy Maud Higgins, I hereby arrest you in the name of the Crown. I believe our next stop is Moose Jaw, if I am not mistaken, Conductor.
Why, yes, it is, Superintendent.
I will disembark with Miss Higgins there and inform the regional command by wire and arrange to have her transported to a jail facility in the area and get her in front of a judge as soon as possible to answer for these charges. You will remain in your room under guard until we reach Moose Jaw. You are allowed visitors in the meantime. Conductor, I want you to post a man outside her door for the remainder of the trip. I will be back periodically to check on Miss Higgins. As you were, gentlemen.
Oh, Bertie, you must help me. I don't know how that ruby got in my compartment. Please believe me, I have no one else to turn to.
Of course. You needn't ask. Maybe it would help if you started from the beginning, Yvette. I mean, Lucy.
That's all right, Bertie. Well, it is true my name is Lucy Maud Higgins, and I am, or was, a school teacher teaching in Toronto. I am originally from the Canadian prairies, born in Alberta. I have always enjoyed writing, you see. I was inspired by the women authors of my day to write novels. I wanted to do some research for my new novel. That is when I invented a female character I thought exotic and full of intrigue. A woman of mystery who was quite different from myself and my existence as a school teacher. Miss Yvette Cadeau. As for Mr. Fowler, I met him as I boarded the train after meeting you. He was a man rough around the edges, but interesting. I never met anyone like him before. He seemed so worldly. I did realize he was trying to woo me, but I had no intention of letting it happen for obvious reasons. I did not even know his occupation until he disclosed it to me just before you and Jeeves approached us at our table in the dining car.
Pardon me, sir. If everything Miss Higgins says is true, our next logical question would be, who killed Mr. Fowler?
That's right, Jeeves. If she did not kill him, then that means somebody on board this train is a murderer. That same person must have planted the ruby in her room to make Lucy appear to be the murderess.
That would seem to be a logical assumption, sir. Miss Higgins, did you ever see Mr. Fowler associated with anyone on board?
I never saw Dennis interact with anyone else on board this train.
There is a distinct possibility that the person who killed Mr. Fowler may have been a complete stranger, or else they may have been concealing their identity by means of a disguise. Miss Higgins' matters are further complicated by the fact that she was concealing her true identity by pretending to be someone she is not. The ill-gotten gain was found in her possession. That, and the eyewitness account provided by the conductor, build a very strong circumstantial case, I'm afraid, sir.
There must be something we can do to save Miss Higgins, Jeeves. Think, man, think. Put that magnificent brain of yours to work.
I am sorry. I am a bit confused. Is Jeeves some sort of a detective or barrister or something?
Jeeves? No, of course not. He's worth a lot more than an army of detectives or bloody barristers. He's more valuable than all the judges of the King's Bench. He's more clever than a man with two heads. What I am saying, my dear lady, is he is the right man for this job.
Thank you for saying so, sir. I do endeavour to give every satisfaction in all I do. Interesting. I am beginning to see the pieces come together to form a clear picture. Yes, that would be the only logical explanation, but why? I am reminded of a famous quote from Arthur Conan Doyle's fictional detective Sherlock Holmes. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
You see, my dear Lucy? He's thought of something already. Well done, Jeeves. Bravo.
I have an idea, but for it to work, I will need the assistance of Mr. Wooster.
Of course, Jeeves. Always willing to lend a hand and come to the assistance of a damsel in distress.
You must distract the superintendent for at least 30 minutes. I am told by the staff that the superintendent eats his evening meals in the dining car promptly at 7 o'clock. I am hoping those 30 minutes will be enough time.
Very well, Jeeves. I will do as you ask.
Oh, Bertie, thank you for believing in me and helping me clear my name.
I would like to thank the conductor and the superintendent for coming here to the dining car in order to ascertain the truth of who killed Mr. Fowler.
What are you going on about, man? What in the blazes is Miss Higgins doing here? I gave strict orders for her to be confined to her room.
It would hardly be fair to exclude her from this discussion if she was to be the subject matter of this little tete-a-tete now, would it, Steele?
I don't understand what's to discuss. She's guilty, isn't she?
That is the purpose of this gathering, to examine all the evidence and reveal the true killer.
What's all this rot? Miss Higgins here is the killer.
That is what someone on board this train would like us to believe. Contrary to all appearances, this is not the truth. You see, as it appears that the late Mr. Fowler had a sordid past. He and an accomplice robbed a bank 10 years ago in Montreal. His accomplice, a man named Nicolas Renault, was found locked in a bank vault, having been double-crossed by Fowler. About a year ago, Renault broke out of prison. He had no doubt a vendetta to settle with Fowler. He had tracked Fowler down and followed him aboard this train. He waited for an opportunity to kill him. He then seized upon the chance meeting with Miss Higgins and decided to make it appear she had murdered him in order to rob him of the ruby he was carrying. It appears to be a sheer coincidence. Miss Higgins had lied about her identity, further making her look guilty. In order for his plan to work, he had to have access to both the ruby and Miss Higgins' room. That is why the murderer could only be the superintendent, or should I say, Mr. Nicolas Renault.
That will be enough out of you. All right, everyone, put their hands up, or I will fill you full of lead with this gun. How could you possibly have known any of this?
I had Mr. Wooster distract you this afternoon. I took that opportunity to take a page from your investigation technique and searched your room and personal belongings. Unfortunately for you, you kept newspaper clippings with photos detailing your past history with Mr. Fowler. A grave error on your part, I must say, Mr. Renault. Quite careless of you.
So that's why that idiot Wooster bothered me all during dinner and spilled my soup all over me. So you are the brains of the operation. Well done, Jeeves. Fowler was a double-crossing piece of trash. I spent 8 years in prison living for the day I would find Fowler and kill him for what he had done to me. After many months of searching for him, I found him living in Toronto. He, in the meantime, had reinvented himself as a wealthy gent about town. He even had gotten a respectable job as a courier after he ran through all of the stolen money.
Wait, how then did he not recognize you immediately?
Being incarcerated for so many years had prematurely aged me. I gained 20 pounds and my hair had gone grey. I grew a mustache to alter my appearance. I also affected the disguise of a mountie. Knowing Fowler like I did, I was sure he'd stay clear of me.
Very clever indeed, Mr. Renault. Allowing you to hide in the open, so to speak. So your plan was to get off the train with Miss Higgins and the ruby. Then you would be forced to dispose of Miss Higgins, thus leaving you free to walk away a very rich and free man.
Yes, that was my plan. It was quite easy, really. I knocked out Fowler, placed him in Miss Higgins' room while she slept, and then shot him, making her appear to have murdered Fowler. Please understand, I never did any of this for the money. It was to kill Fowler for revenge. The ruby just worked out as being a delightful little bonus. Knowing Fowler as I do, I am sure it was just a matter of time before he would have embezzled the valuable jewels entrusted to him. Now I am afraid I'm going to have to take care of all of you, then grab the ruby and jump off the train. The first one to die will be you, Jeeves. A little too smart for your own good. That's what you get briefing yourself for the defense.
No, Renault. I simply can't allow that. Jeeves is simply far too valuable to me. So I hope you'll not take offense to this crystal water pitcher to the side of your head.
Oh my goodness, Bertie. You have knocked him out cold.
Astonishing indeed, sir. I am flattered that your fondness for me would provoke you into such action.
I'm just as surprised as you are, Jeeves. All of a sudden, something came over me. The mere thought of the long days and nights ahead without you filled me with a sense of fear and dread. Then I simply acted without thinking.
Well done, sir. For once, your most endearing trait has served us all very well.
What was that, Jeeves?
I was just saying that it is good to be appreciated, sir.
Oh, Bertie, my man of action.
Jeeves, please open the door. It's me.
I see you have returned for your evening out with Miss Higgins. Very good, sir. I have prepared your luggage and we are about to arrive in Vancouver on schedule.
Jeeves, I've done it again. I've somehow found myself engaged. Last night, Miss Higgins invited me in for a nightcap. Unfortunately for me, all she had to offer me was vodka. She must have still been under the influence of my heroic feats of last night and ill-advisedly said yes.
Oh dear, that was most unfortunate. Shall we rejoice in this new development, sir? Of course, I always stand at ready for whatever your decision may be. However, I remind you, sir, that I do not offer my services as a gentleman's gentleman to married men. I find there is only room for one person to rule the roost, sir. And for better or worse, that's usually the presumption that the new mistress of the house will no doubt be laboring under.
Oh, Jeeves, can this really mean the end of us?
Bertie, my dear darling! At last I have found you!
Penelope, what are you doing here?
Bertie Wooty, you sly fox, you! You were ever so difficult to track down. I talked to the doorman, who told me he overheard you mention going to Canada. I then called your Aunt Agatha in London. She told me that you had a relative in British Columbia. The rest was easy. Daddy had one of those agency fellows track you down to this very train from Toronto to Vancouver. Some sort of urgent family business, I imagine. I understand. So, here I am, ready to resume our lives together.
Bertie, the train is about to pull into the station. Oh, hello. I see you have company. A pleasure to meet you. I am Lucy Higgins, Bertie's fiancée.
What? Oh, no, you're not. I am Bertie's fiancée. We were engaged 2 weeks ago in New York.
Wait, Lucy, I can explain everything.
Bertie, is what this woman says true?
Well, yes, strictly speaking.
Why, you rich, spoiled Lothario. How dare you? Oh, I know your type. A girl in every port. I knew you were just too good to be true. I never want to see you again.
That goes double for me. You, sir, are a cad and a bounder. You bluebeard. I should sue you for breach of promise. Never darken my doorstep again, Mr. Wooster. You Beast!
What just happened here, Jeeves?
I am pleased to say my continued employment's up. I doubt very much either of those young ladies would have been a suitable wife for a gentleman such as yourself. Yes, a most gratifying result indeed, sir.
You have been listening to Northward Jeeves, starring Karim C. Kronfli as Bertie Wooster and the announcer, Dom Sourlis as Jeeves, Holly Adams as Yvette Cadeau and Lucy Maud Higgins, Leah Carrell as Penelope Stratton, Joey Sourlis as the Conductor and Dennis J. Fowler, John Bell as Superintendent Daniel Steele and Nicolas Renault, Jarvis B. Chavez as the Porter. Northward Jeeves is a joint production of JBC Radio Theatre and JBC Entertainment. Copyright 2023.